make write in the formulas for doing average velocity and also instantaneous velocity and acceleration. And whenever you get ready to put a formula into a spreadsheet, you have to begin that formula with an equal sign. So I know that all the velocities and accelerations at the 0-yard line will be 0, so I'm going to put zeros all the way across there. But here at the 5-yard line, I want to figure out the average velocity. Well, average velocity is distance divided by time. So I'm going to hit the equal sign to tell the computer that I'm doing a formula. You can see I put an equal sign up here. And then the distance, the computer doesn't know what distances are, but we know that the distances are in the A column. Okay, well, since velocity, let's go right over here, velocity equals d divided by t. Over here in the average velocity column, I'm going to put a equals sign, and I'm going to tell the computer, okay, I want you to take the distances which are in column A, and in this case it's A4, and I want you to divide that by the times in cell B4. So it's simply A4 divided by B4. And that gives you the answer. Now, I don't want to have to write that formula down every time, so you can simply click on the box, and if you take this little white cross and grab the little teeny square at the bottom right-hand corner, you can drag that down, and now you got all your answers for average velocity. Now I'm going to do the same thing for instantaneous velocity. I'm going to put the equal sign in, but the formula is a little bit different. For instantaneous velocity, oops, get rid of that. For instantaneous velocity, the formula is, come up here for a second, sorry. The formula for it was v equals the final distance. I'm going to put df minus di, that's the initial distance. And I'm going to divide that by the final time minus the initial time. So that was the formula that we used the other night doing the homework here. Wish it would let me write it, and it's not letting me write today for some reason. And so if you look over here, I'm going to put in the equal sign to let the computer know I'm doing a formula. My final distance between the 0 and the 5, if you look over here, I got the cross. If you notice, it's in cell D4, I'm sorry, A4. So I'm going to say, hey, take A4 and subtract from that A3. Then I'm going to close my parentheses. I'm going to divide that quantity by the time at the 5-yard line, or my final time between the 0 and the 5 was at the 5-yard line, which is in B4. And I'm going to have the computer divide that, B4, subtract from that, B3. And I'm having a tough time getting it to do what I want it to do right now. Okay. And do B3. And now it gives me the answer for instantaneous velocity. I can simply drag that down now, and now I have all those. And for acceleration, formula was just a little teeny bit different than the last one we used. It was A equals the final instantaneous velocity. So I'm going to use the D column now, minus the initial instantaneous velocity, divided by the final time minus the initial time, the same thing we used last time. So if you come up here to, once again, the E column for acceleration, I'm going to tell the computer I'm putting in a formula with an equal sign. I now have to go to my instantaneous velocity column. This is the D, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to know the instantaneous velocity between the 0 and the 5-yard line. Well, that's the final velocity would be in cell D4. So I'm going to put D4 minus the initial velocity, which is in D3, and subtract or divide that by, once again, the times. It's the same thing we used last time, which was the time is in column B4 minus the initial time, which was in B3. You click enter, and now you got that answer, and simply drag that down. Now, what's really nice about this is that if I want to do multiple people, I can now select the whole chart. I'm going to right click. When you right click, this comes up, you can copy it. I'm just going to paste it over here. When I right click again, it allows you to paste it. And instead of having to, try again, I'm going to try to paste it. There you go. Instead of having to type in all the formulas and all that. Now all I have to do is change the time. So I'm just going to make up some times here. I'm going to go 0, 1, 2, 3 and change this person's time. So here's 0. Now watch what happens to all the formulas. If I hit a 1, you see how they're all changing? And so all I'm doing is changing the times. And so I can do the whole school's data in very, very little time. Okay, so that's how you do a spreadsheet. Now what I want to do is I want to show you how to get a graph up on the screen. When you're looking at the films, we don't care how fast the person's going. We want to know whether they're speeding up or slowing down at every yard line. So I want to know their acceleration. Well, acceleration is instantaneous velocity divided by time. It's a change in velocity over the change in time. So I want to highlight the time column. And since instantaneous velocity is not right next to time, I have to hit the control button. So I'm holding down the control button, and that allows me to highlight 2 columns at the same time. Now, if I want to insert a graph, I can now come up here to insert. And I don't want to use a line graph. I'm going to use a scatter plot that you see right here. It says scatter, insert scatter or bubble chart. And then I'm simply going to connect all the dots. And that gives me this nice little chart for Lauren. Now, on average, Lauren's stride was about 1 meter per step. So if you go between the, this is the 5-yard line, the next stop would be the 10-yard line, 15, and so forth. So if she started on her left foot, she'd go left, right, left, right, left. On the 5-yard line, she'd be on her left foot. Then you go right, left, right, left, right. On the 10-yard line, she'd be on her right foot. So now you can see that every dot is actually representing a different foot. And if you look later on in the run, you'll notice that one foot tends to really speed her up and the other foot slows her down. And she speeds up and slows down. Well, when you look at the video, I want you to notice that she's doing 2 things. On one foot, she lands on her heel. On the other foot, she lands on the ball of her foot. So the foot that she lands on her heel slows her down. When she lands on the ball of her foot, speeds her up. And she's also lifting her leg higher. So when you bend your knees, you have less rotational inertia. And so the one foot actually moves faster than the other. So that's the type of stuff I want you to put in your coaching plan. So you'll need to print out the spreadsheet here. You'll need to print out the graph and then write me a coaching plan of what the runner's doing between each yard line.